A beautiful afternoon it is, definitely. Thanks for joining us on Flip Side, the other side of the news. Today we're focusing on sports. You know, the International Day of Sports for Development and Peace is celebrated each year on April 6th by the United Nations. The day acknowledges the role that sports play in driving social change. The UN says sports has been increasingly recognized and used as a low-cost and high-impact tool in humanitarian development and peace building. The global theme for the International Day of Sports for Development and Peace for the year 2023 is Scoring for People and the Planet. And joining me to discuss on the show today are very special people. Those who know me know I have very little knowledge about sports. More into other things, the environment, social issues and all that. But today I'm open to learn, and for everyone who doesn't know much, you would also get to learn a lot on the show today. I have a special guest who has made a name as junior CAF instructor, FIFA educator, someone who led the insurance into the league in 2019, the current technical advisor of Bengal Insurance, the coach. I have Coach Monday or Digia in the studio today. Good to have you, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, viewers.
Welcome. It's a very hard nut to crack. It's difficult to pull him down to the studio, but we succeeded. And I have Solomon Aina, someone you see on television almost every day talking about sports on the program Global Sports, our sports analyst, a sports presenter on ITV radio. Solomon Aina, welcome to Flipside.
Well, it's good to be on Flipside today. It feels different being on the other side.
End.
Yes, and it's interesting to just be
It makes me remember the day I brought my lecturer from school when I was in school, and when we were done talking, said it's so different. Before it was me asking questions. Today it was your turn. All right, we're going to talk about the UN's idea of sports as a tool for peace and development. And if we're not doing well in sports, how can we even achieve the whole peace and development talk? So we'll start from Nigeria. Okay. We'll bring it home. How far so far? How far we've fared since we joined the international sports. We've started doing a lot of sporting activities. And recently we were in a game. I don't watch Nigerian football, but we do other sports still. So I'll start with you, Coach Odigiesa. How far so far? How would you rate us so far?
Well, I think we can say it's been good, but it could be better because sports is a tool by which youths in every community can be gainfully engaged. Every child has a talent, and if the atmosphere and environment is conducive enough, such a child can actually, develop this so-called talent. And like you just said, sports is one avenue by which this can be achieved. And when you do this, it helps to get a lot of youths engaged and takes them off negative social vices and makes them grow up being healthy and, useful to the nation.
Interesting. Okay, I picked the fact where you said we've not done too well, we've not done too bad, we can be better. Interesting. But in recent time, the Super Eagles seem to be breaking our hearts more and more. I'm yet to watch a game where the Super Eagles has made me happy. So I told myself not to watch anymore, because when I watch football, I look like someone who is not normal. You see me praying, speaking in tongues for football. It's a very emotional game for me, so I stay away from it. But what could possibly be wrong that seems like every game we are doing even worse?
Okay. For me, I would say you putting your passion into sports and praying for the game to go in a positive way means that it's a way for you to pray for the nation, to show you that sport is all encompassing. It goes to all areas of our life, both the spiritual, the psychological, the economical, the physical. Just like what he said, you become more healthy, and you see that you've used your time for something gainful. You don't waste time when you do sport, and it's something that brings people from different backgrounds together. It's a unifying factor. Anywhere you go around the world, even down to football teams. If you check the Super Eagles, you see people from different tribes and different upbringing all together in one place. Now, talking about the question you asked, saying that in recent time, the performances of the Super Eagles, that is just one part of Nigerian sports. But so far, so good. We are just like babies when it comes to sport development all around the world. We look up to different countries, from our football to our swimming to our basketball to our tennis, to our athletics is just a stage whereby we have to go through. But eventually, you see people trying or doing everything possible to get into that circle. That circle in the sense that everybody wants to just try sports. You see, back in the days when you see parents hearing that their kids are playing football and they're all angry. Right now, they are the one advising. You see parents buy football boots for kids to go and play football. So it shows that people are more open-minded right now, in this era right now, to sports, because they know that it's a way to get away from social vices. It's a way to be occupied. It's a way to have value for your own self. It's a way to see yourself as an important or integral part of the society. So sport play a very vital role. And for the Super Eagles for now, I think they're doing everything possible to bring them or bring the players from outside. Most of the players playing for Super Eagles, they don't even play their trade in Nigeria yet, just very few of them. But at the end of the day, you see them coming back to the country, happy to represent the country, and they are doing very well. They are trying. I won't, for you that don't watch football that much, I won't say they are doing 100%, but they are trying every game back to back. They are putting in effort. They are trying to see how to be better and to make people like you smile. Because for us, we might be seeing it from another angle. That is the reason why some of those performances are like that. Take, for instance, what we're seeing with like Benden Insurance right now. It's a beautiful thing to see that there's a team that is going unbeaten in the Nigerian Professional Football League. We rarely see that. The motivation, the happiness on the faces of the fans when watching games played by Benden Insurance is something to behold. You get, so that's what sports can offer to the society for free.
Interesting. Okay, in as much as we at least we have Benden Insurance giving us joy, and some other sports, the Paralympics, they make us happy too. True.
Even the athletics also.
Yeah, somehow. Apart from, they're just two people basically when it comes to athletics, and your ladies. I don't know where the men are. Where are the men? But in the UN's goal for using sports to get world peace and development, how achievable is this in total? Now, we're talking about something like the war in Russia. Can we fix a problem as serious as that with sports? Not to forget that when games don't go as planned for the fans, there's usually destruction, fighting, even the players are at risk. So if we're using sports as a tool for peace, is it really going to be as productive as they think? Coach.
Well, it's a very sensitive one. But truth be said, sporting activities, there's a misconception that I think the people generally have. I say this because, first and foremost, in participation, there lies the joy, not in winning. So if this can be played down on, then I think it can help in solving the issues you just mentioned there. Take years back, Iraq, Iran. The first time they both had to play a soccer game, two countries were around watching, and so I think sports is one major tool that can be used to stabilize peace in the world. Firstly, like I said, it has to be done the right way. And which is this right way? Every community has to be made to have sporting activities going on. Such passion, yes, one other thing. But like I said, if you derive joy in participating and you really want to give it your all, then you have little or no time for the negative parts of sports. Yeah, you don't win it all, because in participation, first and foremost, you have to have, like I said, the joy in sports is in participation, not in winning. So when you can accept that, the day it doesn't go your way, you know there will be another time for you to do it. So I think that's one tool that can be used, very serious tool that can be used to promote peace in the world. And that's why if you watch big nations, big non-governmental organizations, they are investing into activities that can bring not just sporting activities, physical activities, but there's this different high that you get when you get involved in sports.
Okay, so Coach, I'm still going to ask you this particular question. I don't know, Nigeria, we give our oil to oil and gas. We spend so much energy, so much money, so much airtime talking about oil, everything related to it. But I don't know, we talk about sports a lot, we watch sports, we're betting on all the betting sites on sporting activities and all that, but is it that sport does not generate enough revenue for Nigeria? That's why government doesn't seem to be doing enough. And if we're not generating enough revenue, if you say so, what ways can we suggest so that we can bring more money? Because in countries like Brazil, they make a lot of money from sports.
Yeah, like I said, first it has to be right. The system has to be put in place. There has to be a structure. You know, you mentioned Brazil. 70%, like you said, of Brazil's income, or how will I put it, comes from players moving from Brazil to out of the country. And like there's a system in place where this has to pass through a procedure. Exactly. You know, investing in sports, investing in football in Brazil is such that every child in Brazil that has a talent is given an atmosphere and an environment to develop this talent. And so, Brazil is a very exciting country when it comes to football. So that's why I see most of the players who come from Brazil, half of them may not play for their national team, but they'll make big clubs outside. And this money comes in through what we call the international transfer fee. There's an ITC that must be gotten before a player can play outside this country. Okay. Just like you said, if the system is right in Nigeria, I'm sure money will be made from investing in sports. A lot of things have been said about how Nigerian players leave, not passing through the right means, and if these things are put in check, then before you know it, Nigeria will be a big country making money. And as I speak with you, there's plenty of money being made. You see a lot of Nigerian players playing in different countries, but maybe they didn't pass through the right process. Okay. So money won't come into where.
But I feel if the enabling environment, just like what you mentioned, is there, which I know Nigerian government definitely know that, okay, one way or the other, if we put our 100% into this, it's going to come back very good. Take, for instance, now the Nigerian Professional Football League. If the Football Association in Nigeria don't want to key into the fact that this is the grassroots football. I like calling it grassroots football. It happens here in our own country. You don't need to like go outside or go to another country to make it happen. It happens right here. So if the government can't put in effort into making it seem very, very good, create a very good standard that it is not more than what we can achieve and what we have on the ground. It's very beautiful. At the end of the day, we'll have reasons to put in more effort into sport. You're looking at Brazil right now. Go around other countries. You see the likes of the United States of America, see the likes of England, see the likes of Italy, Spain. They always focus on sporting activity. Reason because they don't just see it as a way to make money. They also see it as a way to relax. Almost every weekend, you see fans go to troop in large amounts to just go and get matches. And they're not watching those matches for free. That's to show you the structure that is already on ground in some of those countries. Now, coming back to the fact that some countries are disturbed by war and happenings, maybe economical or financial or even territorial or anything that is going on in the country. For instance, Russia and Ukraine. You see some players from this country use sport as a medium to tell the world that, hey, we don't want this war to happen again. Hey, we want this war to stop. Even from the side of the Russians, from the side of the Ukrainians, we have a lot of them out there. In the world of tennis, we have about 2-3 of them that suffered from ban from playing in the Wimbledon just because they are from Russia. But at the end of the day, they have to let the world know that, hey, we are not supporting this war to happen. We want peace. Everybody wants peace. So we are coming all out to like support even the Ukrainians. We've had incidents in sports whereby some players, after winning major tournaments or major trophies, decide to like let the proceedings go into the war and like solve situations that pertains the war. Most of these athletes, they partake in some of these championships, some of these tournaments to just let people in those trouble areas to see something to like take their mind off the problems. It's very funny when you see some people going through hard time and they just tell you that, oh, I'm going to the pitch, I want to go and play football. Or I'm going to the basketball court, I want to go and play basketball. Yeah. Because when you get there, your problems is now, okay, how to get the ball in the net or how to throw the ball into the basket. So you are forgetting everything that is happening to you. Sport has this thing that once you are on the pitch or once you are on the court, you forget about everything that's happening and you find yourself liking the next person, asking the next person for help. The next person is asking you for help. So that unifying factor that sport is bringing to the world is something to behold. Okay,
without even asking for the benefits of engaging in sports, I've gathered some. And in fact, one I wasn't even thinking about, which is a very good way to relax and take your mind off your problems. Now, people turn to alcohol and cigarettes and some of all these substances to get your minds off their problems. So you could just engage in a sporting activity and it works. So they say. I'm yet to try it.
I'll come in here and say something. Okay. The UNDC, United Nations Organization on Drugs and Crime, as I speak with you, annually they come to this country to try and train individuals who can help go into these youths that are under the influence of substance abuse in rehabilitating them. You will be surprised to know how much they've invested in this in African countries because they know that this is a problem with the youth. Yeah. So sports is one way by which this can be solved. I've been privileged to be in the seminar to see how it goes. You need to know what happens when you're able to get away from whatever, like he said, is an issue with you, maybe physically, psychologically. That moment when you are doing the sporting physical activity, you are draining yourself, and trust me, there's a different kind of high you get. And by the time you come back, your body just wants to go. Rest.
That's just the beautiful part. You just want to rest.
After that moment, you can see a recompensation coming to you. You are feeling relieved. You're feeling enlivened. That's just it. And you wonder why people just break away from work. Man, I'm going to the club to go play tennis. You never can tell until you experience it. So it's one way I think every government should really, put attention to. And trust me, it's not right what we're seeing around these days. Youths going off, not being able to make better use of their time.
Wow. Okay. For people like me, we tried to. We have a game house in ITV so that we could relax and unwind. In fact, there's a day of the week where people close early,
yes.
And I think 3 p.m. you close from work and you just go to the game house and begin to enjoy. It doesn't work for me because that's when my work even starts. And so they do snooker there, tennis. I try to play tennis. When I serve, everybody just starts laughing. So I rest, and I know they do again. But games like Ayo and Ludo, I do like.
Board games.
Board games. Chess. I'm learning. Scrabble. I'm good. But I don't see those. Someone said it's not sports. Someone said it's just games. But what would you say? Are they sporting activities? Would you call Ayo a sport? And if it is, what can we do to develop such games or sporting activities like Ayo, like Ludo, maybe snake and ladder, to international standard?
Well, for Nigeria, one beautiful thing is there's no sport you call all across the world that you don't see Nigerians participating. There is no sport. You will definitely see a Nigerian, probably might not be claiming or representing Nigeria in that particular sport, but when it comes to sporting activity all around the world, you definitely see Nigerians there. It shows that we have a passion for this. Now, board games generally, it deals more with psychology. Yeah. You have to put your mind to it. I'm not going against all the sporting activity, but also there's a lot of calculation, especially football. Every second, every minute, there's calculation to make it look better, have a better playing time on the pitch. Same thing goes to board games. as you're trying to defeat your opponent is also trying to defeat you. In the midst of that, there might be arguments, misconception, like what you mentioned earlier, when some people are not happy about the result. It is there. But it gives room where you try to raise an healthy, very, very healthy conversation with someone, trying to like prove a point to someone, where at the end of the day, is either you accept or you don't accept. But all sports, generally, Nigerians do well in it. It's just the fact that we need to make it easy for even the least person in the country. First of all, we can start off with adding sporting activity as a compulsory a part of our curriculum when it comes to like secondary schools and primary schools, because just like what you said also about the games house in ITV, yeah, most people still don't want to participate in the sporting activity. They're like, okay, I'm busy, I don't have the time. Too. Go to the English Premier League, for instance. Every Saturday, you see a stadium with a 32,000 capacity and it's all filled up. Why? There's always a space for it. If you tell someone probably that, oh, I want to go and watch a match, I'll be like, okay, you can go. But don't try that in Nigeria. I want to go and watch a match. Why? Who will do the work? Who will do this? Who will do that? That is why we end up having, even if the Super Eagles of Nigeria, they're playing right now, in any stadium, you can't have a full capacity stadium. It's very rare. Probably because the field might be smaller, or the seating capacity might be smaller. You have more people. So there should be this enabling environment where people can actually participate in sporting activity without saying it as if it's a bad thing. Some of these professional footballers in Nigeria, for instance, if you hear their story, there's always this part of the story that, okay, when I want to go and play football, my mom or my dad say I should stop because I will break my leg. There's always that story there.
I'm coming to that one. So it's good, but is it just we, the audience, that are the reasons why Ayo and Ludo aren't on a national level?
We decided not to take it to that level.
Because karate, judo, I think taekwondo, those
yes.
were Chinese, Asian games.
Okay.
There was already boxing. There was no need for us to introduce more fighting games. But now they're international games.
Yes.
I want a situation where Ayo is, I'm particular about Ayo. Bini call it Ogidise. I want it to become an international game. What can I do? What can we do? Coach, any suggestions?
Well, there's a need for a more awareness campaign for these games to become popular. That's the only thing that can be done. He mentioned schools having some of these things embedded in their curriculum. These are ways to make these games popular from, you know, the junior level. When this becomes a part of the system, anyone who passes through that system is already used to it. There has to be an awareness. When I say a real big cost to make people aware of things that are happening around them. And before you know it, the society will just accept it. It's really sad to see our schools not having enough activities to engage them. Because I know very well that in the educational sector, your physical development is very key also to how well you can assimilate when you are being taught. But this is being played down on. When we were in school, every school had a games master, or you call it P, physical
teacher.
and health. Yes, and at least once every Friday. Friday is always devoted for this, and you also have to be scored in it when your exams are coming. So you are not just going there to do it. You are going there because you never can tell where your talent lies. You can be very educated, and that can help you to develop your talent.
Interesting.
Because sometimes, hey, it doesn't really work alone educationally. We had those days 3 Nigerian national team players who were scouted from universities. Felix Owolabi, if I'm not mistaken, Adoki Amasimeka, who later became a chief judge of Rivers State. Yes, they played for the Nigerian national team and won the Nations Cup in 1980.
Oh.
So then, Nuga Games, Nipoga Games, College of Education, NASEC, all these schools had national games that were existing. So as you go to school to read, you also have a means to develop the talent that you have. So, hey, that's why you can tell today what we have is quite different from what it used to be.
Yeah.
So I think there's a need for the authorities concerned to go back and try to do more in this area. It will also help to take these kids away from the street. What you have these days is not encouraging.
As well. All right. I know I went to a boarding school, an all-girls school, and that helped. We had entire sports. We had sports day. We did all sports, like all. And it was very interesting. We looked forward to it, maybe because it was boarding school. We didn't have any other outlets. We just stay in school, lock the fence, and you're just there behind the gates. But it was fun. But not all schools have big fields. Check private schools these days. They don't even have space for cars to park. Talk less of space for the kids to engage in sporting activities.
Because
that's a problem. But quickly, I'll come back to you. We need to go on a break shortly. We need to bring you the headlines and the UN message on the International Day of Sports for Peace and Development. When we return, we'll continue from where we stopped. We were unable to bring you the breaking news and the headlines for this time, but surely at 3 o'clock we will bring you news, so that's a bigger package. But we'll go back to our discussion where we stopped. We're talking about secondary schools especially, and where we were doing entire sports and how far we've forgotten these things. And Coach, you were still on the floor.
Yeah, because you mentioned you hardly find enough space for these activities to take place in schools, whether private or government owned. I think this should be a major criteria before giving anybody a license to operate, because that's how education comes. It can't just be all about the classrooms. Yes. You know, you need to have sections where, I remember then too, there used to be a section where everyone in the school had to be made to participate in agricultural activities.
Yes.
You get a portion.
Either agriculture or economics.
This is exactly what we are saying. So I think people who give licenses to this institution should reconsider these aspects and try to bring them back. You have to show us what you have on ground before we can give you a license. So this can be done, that can be done. And you mentioned inter-house sports. That's always the climax. It comes just once in every session. So, and sometimes you have other schools being invited. They come with their relay team. There's excitement. I think the more we try to do some of these things again, the better it will be for the society. A society that refuses to invest in its youth will have the youth bounce back and become a menace to them. So I think that's just what needs to be done. There's no two ways about it. We need to go back and try to do things the right way so we can have a society that will be healthy and free for everyone to live in.
Just like I'm still pressing on what you've been saying, sir. We have a society whereby we forget about norms, things that gave value to people back in the days. Gradually, we just relegate it to the background and we just feel as if, okay, it's all about the certificate at the end of the day, just making that result and saying, yes, I'm a graduate, or I'm done with my WAEC, or I'm done with my first school living certificate. But it's way beyond that. If you see people whereby they just learn, and there's no extracurricular activities, it becomes very difficult. That's why we tend to see funny results down to the UTMEs and other major exams that people write in Nigeria. You just see funny result because there's no room. There's this normal proverb back in the days that all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. We have a situation whereby people just work, go to school, read, no play. Because I could still remember, I think my own days are not too far behind. We had FedCo for federal schools, we had Nuga games for universities. Even presently, even for football, we have the HIFL where our institution comes together and play football. And they are just getting recognition now. This is something that we see cases of different kind of social vices in universities, for instance, now. But if you engage those boys, just like what we are seeing with HIFL now, whereby schools, the focus every semester and every session, they try to bring in players together to represent their school on the highest stage. I think that major channels are showing some of the matches of HIFL to show that, yes, wow, they can be on the world stage, even from their schools. You know, most times they just conclude that, okay, we have to play in Europe or we have to play in the MPFL before we become seen all over the world. But no, if there's enough room for development when it comes to sports, even from the grassroots level. I think when I was still in secondary school, there's this popular one, that Shell Cup then. But I don't know, all those things, we don't see it anymore. Because if you start grooming from the lower age, take for instance, we're still going straight back to some of the, some clubs in England. You see some kids, like Chelsea for instance, they have like 4 to 5 players playing for the senior team now that they've been in Chelsea from 6 years old. They went to school. They went through all the ranks, and they are now in the main team. They have their certificate to prove that, okay, they were in school also, but they actually had time to actually do all these activities also. The country can actually do it in Nigeria. That's England, that's UK, one country that we look up to in most situation. So it's very funny to see whereby we struggle with some of these kind of things in Nigeria.
We have a case study here, right in front of us.
Okay.
Bendel Insurance.
Yes.
The young man, Imade Osarehoy, was a product of the NH, Nigerian High Institution.
HIFL.
Yes. We were playing, we're using the facility of the Uniben during the first time in the MPFL, Bendel Insurance. And there's where Imade was spotted.
Wow.
And today, I'm sure you know who Imade is.
Well, for your own consumption,
No, I'm not that ignorant.
No, I mean, because, I mean, that's one of the benefits. These are the things you can really, hey, the young man is a graduate of University of Benin. He finished 7. But today, his certificate won't give him what he's getting playing football.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Hopefully, if he goes the way he's going now, he can come back one day to come and tell the story.
I'll be waiting. Okay, then, let's talk about the negative impacts of sports. Aren't there negative impacts? Because when we have conversation on sports, it's always the positive, the positive. It's almost as if we're covering the negative parts. I've heard, at least, I've seen a case where they tell someone you cannot participate in sports anymore because of an injury.
Okay.
And I've also seen people fall down and die, although it's not only in sports. Sudden death seems to be a trend now. It's happening everywhere. I don't even understand. But aren't there negative impacts of sports?
To me, I don't want to believe there's any negative impact. Just like you said, if the system is right, you won't engage or indulge in any sporting activity if you are not certified medically fit. So that also goes to the system, and the people saddled with the responsibility of making sports become, you know, available to everybody. The right things needs to be done. You won't indulge in any activity if you've not been certified. You have to pass through some medical tests. That's why you see at the beginning of every season, medical tests and physical tests are being carried out on these athletes. So they can tell. Another case that happened not too long ago is the case of Carl Iheme, the Nigerian goalkeeper, who used to keep for Wolves something. And he's been with the team for years, and suddenly they found out that he had leukemia.
Oh,
so these things grow. So as soon as it was discovered, he was asked to stop.
The end of the
So I don't think there's a negative impact in sports if it is done properly. I just say there are professional hazards. You could be walking on the road going to your job. God forbid, there could be a reckless driver. So this is part of life. You see, the truth is, and we're all, I don't want to say, every day you get up from your house, you know what's going to happen. So you just have to be positive. You're going to do sports, give it your all, make sure the right tests are done. You can't be hypertensive and want to go and you'll be told, hey, this is the limit you can go. We had another case. We had a case in the national team, Effie Ambrose. He plays now in
Ibinia in
I can't tell
Ibs, I think,
precisely.
in Scottish League.
He was part of the under-23 team that I was part of as an official, preparing to go to Beijing Olympics. Right here in Abuja, the doctors discovered that he had some problem with his heart or something and said he cannot play, the type that happened to Kanu Nwankwo. The head coach says, okay, since we are going to South Korea, when we get there and the experts do another check, if he's said not to be fit, he stops. As I speak with you, we got there and the doctor said, hey, these are things that happens with athletes. This is what to do, this is what to do. And the young man was part of our team that won silver at the Beijing Olympics. Today, that's the story of Efe Abruz. So, I don't know.
No, for sports, there's always hazards. You can't put it away. It must happen. Even down to people participating and also people, the spectators also. You have situations whereby they might not be happy about the result and they want to protest or ask for something different. We have situations whereby fans get too happy or probably not too happy about the result and probably want to like hurt the players, or a situation whereby racial abuse and other things. And on the side of the players, we have injuries of different degrees, and also you have the drugs part, whereby some players they will actually be probed for doping when it comes to athletes and even general sports. But I won't say sports have a negative side. There's always this good side to sport because it brings you together with people you don't even know.
Yeah.
It's only sport that will give you the opportunity to meet up with someone that even in your lifetime you won't even think of meeting up with the person. Sport will give you that avenue to even have conversation with the person, so share knowledge with the person, because you might be in a position whereby the person doesn't even know what to do, or probably you are in the position whereby you are the one to dish out orders to that particular person. Just like what he said, and him being a coach, there are situations whereby you won't even expect in this lifetime that Imade will have meet up with him and probably take orders from him in a particular game. But here we are. This is a situation whereby we have a young guy receiving very good order from someone that is well experienced in the game. I believe Imade was not even thinking of having something like this in his lifetime. But that's what sport will definitely give to you. So the negative side, I think it's there. It's there. But I won't call it, it's not even up to 20%, let's say like 10%, because there's definitely professional hazards. There are things that will happen along the line. Players who die on the pitch due to probably heart problem or maybe some sustained serious injuries that they won't be able to continue on their careers again. But the positive side is more. The fact that it's a unifying factor, the fact that it makes people happy. You need to see how people get excited when a goal is scored. Yeah. Even down to the coaches. I believe he has been in a situation whereby he wasn't expecting anything major to happen. Just like the last game that they played, they actually came from behind to draw that particular game. I'm just wondering the expression on his face on that particular day.
Well, again, I'd like to say something, concerning what you mentioned about the negative aspect of sports. In America, I want to believe the first thing that gets told to people, young people, listen, if you don't have the chance to make it professionally, the time you would have spent here would have prepared you for wherever you're going to make your life from. That's what sports actually does too.
Okay.
Yes, because I tell you what, if the Kali Keme situation, he can't keep anymore, but he became a goalkeeper trainer.
Yes.
What you couldn't achieve physically, because of the hazard, you can impart into the younger ones who are coming. So I just want to believe that, yes, whatever it takes, the positive side of sports is bigger than the negative side of sports. Some people, like you said, they are on their job and hazard comes and they are just done. They can't do anything for themselves anymore. Now you can't do the physical part, but you can help the younger ones by giving them instruction. So we just have to have the right system in place. And trust me, I don't think any effort in life is wasted. It depends on how you want to make use of it.
Okay, still talking a little bit about football, particularly Nigerian football. Today we have a foreign coach. Tomorrow we have a Nigerian coach. I don't know if coach is the problem. I don't know the secret of Bengal insurance right now. We want to know. But we've also seen players on the international level slip through our fingers as Nigerians. Players like Karim Adeyemi of Borussia Dortmund,
Yes.
players like Jamal Musiala of Bayern Munich, Bukayo Saka of Arsenal, and the likes of that. I have to write those names down so I
There's
don't
a
forget.
very, very long list
of these
I
players.
can keep calling players. We have Manuel
But how can
Akanji.
we get these people? How can we get them? That's one. Then number two, we've already missed out on the last Olympics. There's another one coming. How long does it take to prepare for the Olympics? How long does it take to train an Olympic champion? Because we have to prepare ahead. I want to see Nigeria do great stuff. Maybe we'll send Benin Insurance to represent us.
I will be glad because I know they'll represent.
Truth must be said.
Yeah.
There is a National Institute for Sports in Nigeria.
Okay.
They have a Lagos campus. They have a satellite campus in Abuja. They have one also in Delta State, Mosoga. Here, you know, it's like a university for sports. But I think attention is not being given there, and so things are not going. They used to have a German or a Russian. They used to have Germans and Russians coming here for exchange program to train our coaches in the school. Then, but that doesn't happen anymore. To your question, Olympic game is a 4-year event. So you have to have a 4-year preparation plan. That's the world standard. Continental standard has to be a 2-year. That's why you see the Nations Cup gets played every 2 years. The national activities, a yearly program. So it's there. If you go to this school, you see all these things written there. We have them there. Like I said, the authorities just need to activate this and things will start going. You mentioned the Olympics. It's the highest sporting event in the world.
Yeah.
The World Cup is also a 4-yearly. That's specific to football.
Exactly.
So that tells you how it came about. So for you to do well in the Olympics, you have to make a plan. We call it periodization plan. That's it. Monthly, weekly, yearly, and then you get there. You can't start now and want to win the Olympic. It's not possible. It is not possible. You have to start. The end of a tournament normally should be the beginning of the preparation for the next one. You talked about us missing out now. I think in 2016, I don't know if we've gone to Olympics again in football.
No,
That was the
no.
last time
We even missed out in this, the
I was
next
fortunate,
one.
I was
Yes, now
fortunate
missed.
to be part of that team. The theme was given to Coach Samson Siasia in 2014. That was when he got engaged. And from then, it was activity after activity. And so, we ended up at the Olympics. We were the first country to win the African Under-23 Championship in Senegal.
Yes.
I don't think we have not qualified since then. So it's all about preparation. There's no magic to it. Nigeria has what it takes. If the right preparation is put in place and is allowed to work its time out, there's this fire brigade attitude that is not going to help us get anywhere. You're talking about the Nations Cup. Now, if the under-23 team is out, you don't have to wait for competitions to bring the team together. That's why you have friendly tournaments. You go to Europe, see all kind of tournaments, the invitational tournament. You expose these players. So by the time these big events are coming
They're
up,
ready.
there's no stage fright anymore. They're there. So they don't feel like they're inferior to these people. But here, that's why they are going to get in, like you said, get our Nigerian players from outside because they feel they can. I don't know how that's going to work. You have to do the right thing to get the right answer.
Well, it's always very difficult to even bring most of those players on because if you look at how they were groomed out there, it's way different. I think there were a couple of times where players complain about facilities, pitch, different things that they will use for themselves to actually bring out the best activity, from athletics down to basketball, down to soccer, down to football. Beach football also, we always have that issue whereby foreign players that were groomed abroad, when coming back to Nigeria, they always complain about all these things. And it goes down to the system. If the system is good, this player will perform very well. We had incidents of the last qualifiers played in Abuja. Some of them were quietly saying probably it's the nature of the pitch that they were having issues in the game. But at the end of the day, it still boils down to the fact that this particular thing will make most of those players that can actually feature for the Super Eagles of Nigeria and all other age grade when it comes to sporting activity in Nigeria run back. They're like, no, we have better facilities over there. Why are we coming back home to suffer? Why are we coming back to Nigeria to struggle? So it still goes down to the system. If the system puts everything in place without thinking that, okay, if we do this, what we do is stand to gain. It's a Nigerian mentality. Everybody just wants to do something and gain something immediately. Just like what he said, it's going to take a period of time. Preparation, putting facilities together is going to take a period of time. If you go to different countries all across Africa, especially the North Africans, if you see some of the facilities that they have for sporting activities, you definitely want to take everybody from Nigeria there to train. Because at the end of the day, those things plays a very vital role in the performances of the players. And we've seen something like that in Edo State. Bendel Insurance, for instance, facilities, things put together to make the players feel good and have good standard of living. Let me even use that word, that statement actually. You know that definitely they must give you 100% performance because they don't lack anything. Is it the wares, is it the pitch, is it the timing, is it the transportation? All those things look very small and minute, but they play a very integral role in sport development all over the country. If the resources are not there, who will play football? If you are selling football boots, very exorbitant prices in Nigeria, who's going to play football? Everybody will be running away from it. But if it becomes something that you can sell at a very... Because there are people out there that want to participate in most of these sporting activities. Do they have the resources? No. There are people out there that want to watch most of these matches. Do they have the means to get to the stadium? No. So it still boils down to the system. The system needs to understand that this is part of the society. You talked about Brazil at the beginning of the show. This is a country that knows that, okay, this is what we have. Let us put effort into making it good. Go to other countries also all across the world. This is what they have. If you don't see sport as a means to bring in money to the society, it becomes very hard. If you know the price that they sell some ticket to watch matches all across Europe, you'll be shocked if they convert it to Naira. But who will pay that kind of amount in Nigeria to go and watch? You can't even pay 1,000 Naira to watch a match in Nigeria. They will complain, it's too expensive. Yes.
But if there's an awareness, the complaints won't come.
Yeah.
That's it. Sports shouldn't even be run by governmental bodies. Communities, private sectors. When they come into it, sports has become business. Yes, it's business.
It is
Whether you
business.
like it or not, but you see, you have to go in and learn how this is business. For example, let's take the Selu community, for example. They have a market there.
Yeah.
The Selu community. You won't tell me they don't have youths. If you have people who can preach this and let them know that this is what they can gain, all the youths in this community, let's come together. They have a few fields I can see. There's the local government, is it headquarters?
Secretariat.
There used to be a school there. I'm sure they've even started building structures in there. So if you bring this together, let those market women just bring in there just 100 Naira.
That's the bare
And
minimum.
get professionals to start volleyball, basketball, football. Trust me, one or two of these children will grow up tomorrow and become good enough for sports clubs to take. We have basketball sports clubs in Nigeria. We have volleyball. But those state government has, all this. They have staff that they pay. But you see what I just talked about, the community participation. This is how these countries promote sports. There has to be an education. There has to be an awareness to the people to know that what you look around you to be useless can be very useful.
Interesting.
So,
Okay, at this point we need to end the show because we've had a very robust conversation. I've learned a lot. At least I can say Borussia Dortmund without biting my tongue. And Bendel Insurance has done so well. And they've given us joy, even if we've not been happy when we watch Super Eagles and other teams. But when we see Bendel Insurance, people are even betting on Bendel Insurance matches. Go to all these bet sites, you'll be amazed the amount of money people are making from their matches. And so we're glad. What we've seen happen in Edo State, Yes, one of the major reasons why they've done so well, I would say, is because the government is interested. I'm afraid what will happen when this government hands over to another person and the person is not interested in sports. What then? We have a very, very low continuity mind in Nigeria. And we can also create so much money from sports. It's not only football. Now, in the northern part of Nigeria, they're known for using bows and arrows. They used to be very known. There's a sporting activity called archery, and you can even develop these people to represent Nigeria to the point of the Olympics. It starts small. We keep talking about Ijaw people and swimming. We're not doing anything. There's no law that says it must be from Ijaw that the person will represent us from, but we need to tap into these natural human resources that we have and then make it large. We don't have to even import players if they don't want to come. But if we make the ones we have here, the system, the events palatable, popular, those who are abroad will lobby to participate. I think that. But anyway, the UN says we are scoring for the planet and for the people this year. The International Day of Sports for Development and Peace is not today. It's actually going to be tomorrow, but Flipside is not tomorrow, so we have to do our own observance of the day today. And I want to say thank you to Coach Odigie and Solomon for being my guest today and for teaching me so much. All right, watch the video on YouTube. We'll upload later today, and you can watch any part of it you've missed out on. There will also be a repeat broadcast on GoTV and Star Times for later tonight. So you're in luck. If you missed out and you're just joining us, you can still catch the full program online on Facebook or on YouTube. I'm Daisy Leo Asikidi, your host of the show. Next week, we'll be back with another story that must have made news, but enough attention has been given to it. So we'll give you the flip side of it, the other side of the news on the show. Bye and see you next week.